Hello, everyone. Tony Costa here from Toronto Apologetics. So glad that you could join us. As you probably have heard, it's been making the rounds in social media, and the story of the Bishop Mari Emmanuel from Sydney, Australia, who, while he was officiating at a church service, he was attacked with a knife by a Muslim assailant. And this has been making the rounds. Obviously, it was a horrific attack. And thankfully, Bishop Mari Emmanuel suffered some injuries, but they were not life-threatening. Others were also assaulted, and some one person in particular, according to the news agency, had to be treated for serious injuries from the knife attack. Now, let me just say from just to begin that Bishop Mari Emmanuel is a controversial figure. He is a member of the Church of the Assyrian Church of the East, which is also classified as Nestorian. And there are people on both sides of the fence arguing that he's heretical or he's Nestorian. And Nestorianism, for those who don't know, is a 5th century heresy that the church condemned. The Christian church condemned the heresy of Nestorianism in 451 AD at the Ecumenical Council of Chalcedon. And the controversy over Bishop Mari Emmanuel has to do with whether or not he's actually Nestorian, denying that Jesus Christ is truly one person with two natures, one human, one divine, the hypostatic union. There is video footage out there that Bishop Mari Emmanuel makes it very clear that Christ is only one person with two natures, divine and human. Where he does differ with Eastern Orthodox and Roman Catholicism, and even with conservative Protestants, is that there are videos where he says Mary cannot be the mother of God, the Theotokos in Greek. And by mother of God, folks, we're not saying that Mary produced God or she created God. This is a theological term that was applied to her as early as AD 431 at the Council of Ephesus, which is affirmed by Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Protestantism as well. And what it affirms is that the person that she gave birth to was God the Son in human flesh. And so when they called her the God-bearer, Theotokos, or Mother of God, they're not insinuating that Mary is somehow greater or part of the Trinity or anything like that, but rather that the person she bore was God the Son. If you have any questions or if you are a little confused about that, check out my video. It was Mary, the Mother of God. In fact, I'll put that video in the description box, so you can check it out. So there are videos saying that he says he denies her being the Mother of God, and then there are videos where he says that she is the Mother of God. So there's a bit of confusion out there in terms of what Bishop Mari has said. Sometimes he sounds orthodox. Sometimes he clings to the historic position of the Assyrian Church of the East in referring to Mary as Christotokos. That is, she's the mother of Christ, the bearer of Christ. And traditionally that church has avoided using the language of Theotokos, that is, that Mary is mother of God. So anyway, that aside, that I just want to be clear from a theological position that I'm not a member of the church, the Assyrian Church of the East, and I have some issues with their position. But again, with Bishop Mari, there are videos where he sounds very orthodox, and then there are videos where he sounds like he's, that he's denying some of those core doctrines that the church holds to about Christ and the incarnation. All of that aside, we're talking about a human being who was practicing his God-given rights to celebrate and worship, and not only the God-given rights that are also enshrined in the legal constitutions of the Western world, including Australia. The fact that this man was attacked by a young Muslim man, age 16, and that he was known to police, by the way. The fact that he was attacked, interestingly enough, at first everyone was wondering who exactly was this. There is no doubt that this young man was a Muslim, because as he was stabbing, and by the way, most of these videos about the actual stabbing, some of these videos have been flagged by YouTube and they've been shut down. But when it first came out, I heard this young Muslim man go up to this bishop, and he started to stab him. And while he was stabbing, you could hear him saying Allahu Akbar, which is a war cry, which is a battle cry as well, meaning Allah is greater. And so thankfully, from what I heard, the blade did not extract from the handle. I think it did after, but he attacked the bishop. The bishop fell down, and then the people in the church ran forward and subdued the young man and held him there until the police arrived. And we're also told that the bishop, even after he was injured, actually prayed for this young man, which again is the Christian thing that we do. The Lord Jesus Christ said that we are to love our enemies, do good to those who despitefully use us, and not curse them, but bless them. And so this is a radical teaching that the Lord Jesus Christ taught us. In Islam, you don't have that. In Islam, it's to basically fight the unbelievers, show no mercy unless they convert. And in Islam, the idea is that they are hard against the believers. They are graceful and peaceful amongst themselves, but they are hard towards the unbelievers. And that's from the Quran, by the way. So what I wanted to do is share a news clip from Australia talking about this incident. And I want to say a little bit about why these things are happening in the West. And so the first thing I want to do is play this clip, and then I'll make some commentary, and then share a couple of passages here that I think you will find interesting. So let's take a look then and listen to this news clip here from Australia. So by the way, folks, just as the screen points out there, please bear in mind that there is graphic content in this video. Visuals can be disturbing. Please watch with discretion. And so if you have any young children around, please make sure they're not watching, because there is some graphic content here, and it's not for young audiences, for children. And so viewer discretion is advised. Let's take a listen. So there you see Bishop Mari is at the front conducting the service at the Christ the Good Shepherd Church in Sydney, Australia. This young man just walks right up and starts stabbing this bishop. Well, let's continue watching. This is the crowd outside of the church. A lot of these Assyrian Christians were very upset, and they were yelling out, "Bring him out, bring him out." And so the police, there was a large police presence there to maintain order. Just saying here, it's quite interesting because the bishop's holding a cross and this young man has a knife. So talk about the sword versus the cross here. And in the end, the cross wins. Not only has he failed to kill this bishop, but he has basically, by doing this, he has basically made this bishop even more famous than he was. There's more views now on Bishop Mari than ever before. He's known as the TikTok bishop, but interestingly enough, this incident has made him even more famous than ever. And so this is the irony of all this. This man thought he was going to finish this bishop, but in actual fact, he's actually helped this bishop to become even more famous, more known in social media.
police were called to a church in Wakeley in southwest Sydney in relation to reports that a male was stabbing the clergy inside that building. Police responded and arrested a young person, and he was restrained inside that building. Subsequently, as it has been mentioned, at 1:35 a.m. this morning, after consideration of all the material, I declared that it was a terrorist incident.
So that is incredible. They called it a terrorist incident, a terrorist attack. Notice they avoided the word attack, a terrorist incident. Usually what happens when you have these types of attacks or incidents, as we heard, is they usually rule it out by saying this is a lone wolf attack or this person had mental illness. And the funny thing is that when it's a white person who may have grown up in a Christian home, or if it's a white person who identifies as Roman Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox, immediately the media says, look, all white people are bad. This is white supremacy. This is an example that Christians are fundamentalists and so forth. So when a white person attacks a mosque, as we've seen in other incidences, it becomes a 24/7 news item that we have a problem with white supremacy, and this shows us that Christians are going off the deep end and flying off the handle and so forth. But when cases happen like this, where a non-Christian is involved or when a Muslim's involved, it either becomes a lone wolf attack. It's an exception. Don't blame a whole people for one person's actions. And of course, the media spins it this way all the time. And so there's always this double standard, as you can see. So we're going to continue watching, and we're going to see why this young man did what he did. And incidentally, when they pinned him down, if you notice, he was actually smiling. He wasn't afraid. He was actually smiling. And the reason why, in some clips, they have him speaking, the reason why he said he tried to kill this bishop is because he said this bishop cursed his prophet, that is, his prophet Muhammad. And so he clearly went in there with an intent to kill. This was premeditated. And he explains the reason why he did it. Okay, so what would you do if someone did that? Someone came into your church and started attacking your pastor or anybody in your church? Well, we know that there are security measures in the United States that they have in place to counter such an attack. But why do you think this young man did what he did? Well, he claimed that this bishop was mocking his prophet. But even if he was doing that, or even if he was saying something that was deemed offensive, that's the price you pay for free speech. There's a lot of things that Muslims say about Christianity, a lot of things they say about Jesus and the Bible that I find highly offensive. But our response is not to strike back with violence. Our response is to show compassion and to pray for such people, as Jesus said, to love our enemies and pray for them. So let's look at a passage in the Quran that will probably help to elucidate what is going on here. Well, when we look at the Quran in chapter 47, verse 3, the Quran says, so when you meet in fight jihad in Allah's cause, those who disbelieve, smite at their necks till when you have killed and wounded many of them, then bind a bond firmly on them, that is, take them as captives. Thereafter is the time either for generosity, that is, free them without ransom, or ransom according to what benefits Islam, until the war lays down its burden. Thus, you are ordered by Allah to continue in carrying out jihad against the disbelievers till they embrace Islam. So Notice the reference there to smiting at the neck. So how are jihadis to fight and kill their opponents? They do so by smiting them at their necks. That's why ISIS was decapitating people. And this is why they strike for the neck. Why? Because the Quran says so. Notice this is to be done against the disbelievers. And they're to do this until, as you see in the final sentence there, that thus you're ordered by Allah to continue in carrying out jihad against the disbelievers till they embrace Islam. And that's a commentary put in by the English translator here of the Quran. So that's why this man did what he did. And also because based on the hadith, whoever mocked Muhammad, Muhammad would order their killings and their murders. Just as we saw, for example, several years ago in Paris, France, with Charlie Hebdo. Now, when the media was reporting on this from the Daily Mail, this is how the Western media functions. So this is Daily Mail in Australia. Who is Bishop Mari Emmanuel? Priest at Wakeley's Christ the Good Shepherd Church, attacked in second Sydney stabbing, is a known anti-vaxxer with huge online following. So here's an old man who came close to losing his life. And the only thing that the Daily Mail talks about is the fact that he was a known anti-vaxxer. What does that have to do with the fact that this man almost lost his life? It has nothing to do with it. And so what you see here is a media smear campaign. It's trying to attack the character of this bishop by mentioning the fact that he was an anti-vaxxer, as if how dare he didn't have a right to do that. And so this gives you an idea of where the media is in regards to Christianity. If this was an attack on a mosque, or if this was another faith that was being attacked, they would never talk like this. But because this has to do with those who are persuaded by the Christian faith, the media, particularly the Western media, is not a friend of Christianity. They hate the Christian faith and they hate the Christian narrative. And so we need to be aware of this. We need to be conscious of this. And so this does not surprise me. To be quite frank with you, this does not surprise me that this happened to this bishop, and that this attack, surprisingly, the police even called it a terrorist incident, which was shocking to me because they usually try to explain it away. But folks, you need to understand that this is the worldview of jihad. Islamic jihad has clear, express imperatives in not just the Quran, but in the Hadith and their holy texts. There's clear imperatives there to fight the people of the book, to fight them if they do not believe in the messenger of Allah, in Muhammad, and so forth. And that there are provisions that when a country comes under the Islamic State, they're ordered to pay, according to the Quran, chapter 9, verses 28, 29, and 30, they're commanded to pay a poll tax called the jizya. And the Quran goes on to say that Jews are cursed because they believe that Ezra is the son of Allah, which is not true. There's no record of that whatsoever. And then the Quran curses Christians for believing that Jesus is the son of Allah, the son of God. And then it goes on to say, may Allah curse them, and so forth. So you will never understand this until you understand the worldview of Islamic jihad. And so am I surprised that this has happened? No, I'm not surprised at all. But it goes to show that those who follow those imperatives in the Quran, they follow them to the T. And so we need to be aware of that. And we also need to be aware that the most powerful thing in the world is the gospel of Jesus Christ. It's the gospel of Jesus Christ that will conquer all this hatred and animosity. But as believers, we need to be bold and we need to proclaim that gospel message. And so, folks, I just want to thank you again for joining in, just listening to this commentary on this incident. And we'd like to encourage you to, once again, subscribe to Toronto Apologetics. It's absolutely free. You just go to the subscription button and just click on that. And you'll receive updates like this and many others. And so we encourage you to subscribe. If you want to be a patron supporter of this ministry, there's a link in the description box if you want to become a donor in terms of patron support, so we can get out quality videos and videos about apologetics and so forth. We encourage you to become patron supporters as well. That link is also in the description box. We encourage you to also like the video and to share it with others. So thanks again, folks, for watching, and look forward to having you again. Take care. God bless. Bye for now.